Hey everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cereal with Neon Wrangler. This is the Saturday Morning Cereal Roundup. So today, as usual, I got with me my guest David G and myself, and we're gonna fight through this and hopefully, hopefully you're gonna learn something that you didn't want to know.
Absolutely. That's what we're here to do. Entertain you with completely useless and random information.
Absolutely. I'd like to start out by David G had a nice show, nice topic prepared for April 1st, and we kind of missed that due to some illness and some huge technical problems. So we got those straightened out. Probably the illness is the only thing left. But anyway, Dave, go ahead.
Well, this week we're going to talk about the origins of April Fool's Day. What does this mean? Everybody knows about it. Everybody participates in it at some point, in some way. Well, in reality, April Fool's is actually one of the oldest observed days. Matter of fact, it was actually 2 days at one time. And where this comes from is back in 1582, when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, as called for by the Council of Trent in 1563. And in the Julian calendar, the new year starts around the spring equinox, which is usually end of March, beginning of April sometime. So it was always there. So when they actually switched over to the Julian calendar, or to the Gregorian calendar, sorry, the new year starts on January 1st. Well, back in those days, we didn't have internet, weren't a lot of newspapers, and a lot of people were illiterate. So a lot of people still celebrated the new year in accordance with the Julian calendar, which started around the spring equinox. So they called them the April Fools because people were, celebrating the new year at the wrong time, as was adopted by the world pretty much at that time. So people who were slow to get the news or failed to recognize that the start of the new year had moved to January 1st and continued to celebrate it during the week of March through April 1st. And they became the butt of jokes, so these pranks included having paper fish, placed on their backs and being referred to as poisson d'avril, which is, April fish, said to symbolize young, easily caught fish and a gullible person.
Oh, cool.
So, April 1st spread throughout Europe back in those days, and in Britain during the 18th century in Scotland, the tradition became a 2-day event starting with the hunting of the gawk, in which people were sent on phony errands. So, and gawk means it is a word for cuckoo bird,
Okay.
a symbol of the fool. So, and followed by the Tally Day, which involved pranks played on people's derriere, such as pinning fake tails and kicking signs on them.
Okay.
So there's the history of it. So in today's thing, again, everybody celebrates. I wouldn't say we celebrate it, but we continue to play pranks and pull hoaxes and stuff like that on the April 1st. But there's the history of it. It goes back a long time. To the changing of the calendars.
That's pretty cool.
From those. So there's the history of April Fool's Day, and I understand, Mark, we're going to be talking about poisonous creatures from your end.
Yes, we are.
And the dumb ways people have died by messing with these poisonous creatures.
That's right. First of all, I'm going to make how should I say it? I'm going to make sure you understand the difference between poisonous creature and venomous creature, okay?
Yes.
A poisonous creature is one that you can basically, if you touch it or you eat it or something like that, it can kill you, okay? A venomous creature is like a snake that bites you, that has venom, that kind of thing. So
it envenomates you.
It envenomates you, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly a good way to say it. One envenomates you. The other one is poison.
Contact.
Yeah, contact. Exactly, contact or something like that. And that's a that is a poisonous creature. The venomous creature envenomates you. Okay. Now, the story I'd like to start out with, I touched before in one of my Neon Wrangler shows, but I don't remember which one. And unless you're hardcore, well, I know most of you are hardcore Neon Wrangler fans, and like and subscribe and tell your buddies. And but anyway, the first thing I want to talk about is the Gimpy Gimpy plant from Australia. Gimpy Gimpy is a very Australian name. What this plant is, it looks like a fern, a nice soft fern on one side. Underneath it are spikes that are incredibly poison and venomous, or what, I'm not even sure how you'd call it, define it with a plant. But these spikes will get in you and cause some of the worst pain on the planet. In fact, one of the weird things about these gimpy spikes is they don't go away, because the scientists have discovered they're not made out of carbon like we are. They're made out of silicone. Okay, and our bodies doesn't do anything with silicone really. It just leaves it alone. So if you got stung by a gimpy, you basically got those spikes in you for your whole life. Now, people do recover from it, but it takes a long time. But even the ones who've recovered say they once in a while get the pain from it.
Now, is this where the term being a gimp comes from? You know, you're being gimpy?
It's a good question. I didn't look that far. But, no, a gimp's somebody like me, I guess, who, not like in Pulp Fiction, but who's lame or, crippled in some fashion. And, but there's a story about the Gimpy, about a guy that was out in the Australian outback. And this should be a lesson for anybody in the Australian outback. He used a gimpy leaf to wipe his butt. Okay, wipe his tushy, his booty butt, and the pain was so bad that he ended up self-unaliving himself. He ended up unaliving himself because the pain was so excruciating. I don't know if he did it that day or a couple days later or what, but the guy made the ultimate mistake with your butt. Sometimes it's kind of rough with one-ply paper or whatever, but no, this was bad news, and then he offed himself with the Gimpy because of the Gimpy plant and its horrible nature. So if you're ever in Australia and you see something that looks like a nice fern, don't mess with it. We had something similar in Alaska, but it didn't poison you like the Gimpy. It just hurt. It was called Devil's Claw, and it looked like giant fern leaves that were all soft and wonderful looking. But if you get down under there were spikes, and they'd poke you. But that they weren't venomous or anything. They just poke you, and you'd be like, "Oh, I ended up in some Devil's Claw," and then you had to do whatever you needed to do to get them out. But they weren't fatal or anything like that. Just an inconvenience. So that's the first one. The second one is I couldn't believe this when I saw it when I was doing research on YouTube. There's some guy who was a snake handler, and I don't mean the religion. I mean the reptile.
An actual, he was a real professional.
Yeah, a snake professional, a snake aficionado, as you say, and he had a ton of snakes. And one day, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. He pulled out one of his snakes, and that snake, and he knew this. He didn't do this on accident. He knew this for reals. The snake was a black mamba. Or if any of you are not familiar with the black mamba, it's one of the angriest, most venomous snakes on the planet. I mean, you get bit by it, and you get about 20 minutes to live if you're lucky. Well, he thought he could survive the bite of a black mamba, So he pulled out his pet black mamba and let it bite him. And he thought that they'd be able to, rescue him or whatever the hell you do. But no, did not work. He died. He died in about 20 minutes, like Jen just said over there. And he passed away painfully because I think it's a neurotoxin that black mambas
Yes.
have. And so this fool
I've
might
watched
have,
I've watched videos where it's killed lions,
yeah,
and
black mambas have killed lions. One time, one got run over by a truck, like a safari truck, and luckily there were no like safari goers there. But this thing got so mad it ended up killing everybody in the truck, and a couple of other people right there. Yeah, they can kill lions. They can kill just about anything they want. They're the thing to stay away from. And he decided to take his chances, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, he got the ultimate stupid prize out there. But that leads me to the next guy, just kind of a segue. It was a Japanese feller, and he used to make money on, I guess, the Japanese version of YouTube, or maybe it was YouTube or something. And he'd do it by eating just the weirdest creatures he could find. And, you know, I guess he had some kind of following, maybe not too big, but he was eating these weird creatures and all that. And one day he decided to eat a centipede. Now, centipedes, if you don't know, are highly venomous, and they're big. It's not like a millipede. You see a millipede with 1,000 legs, you're pretty safe. You see a centipede with about 20 legs, about a foot long. They're dangerous, okay? They are horrible. So anyway, he started eating this centipede, and long story short, he ended up dying. And the doctors just basically said, yeah, he died of all the toxins in the centipede body and all that kind of stuff. I think that personally, if I had my druthers to guess, I think he bit into the thing and he would eat these creatures live. And maybe as he was swallowing or something, it bit him. And that was probably the start of him, his lamentations, as it were. He ate the centipede and it went down and killed him. Or not the centipede, maybe the centipede was dead, but the stuff in the centipede killed him. And the Japanese doctors were like, well, he got killed by a centipede, and that was basically it. But they have footage of him eating the thing. And I was just like, oh, you can't be serious. Doesn't the guy know anything? I mean, he just ignorant idiot. And yeah, he offed himself that way. Now, the last one I want to give an example of is the box jellyfish from Australia. Two of these are from Australia. The box jellyfish is a little tiny jellyfish. Yeah, there you go. It looks like that's a bigger jellyfish,
this
but he's.
this is not a box jellyfish, but it is a jellyfish.
Oh, but it is a box jellyfish?
No, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. Okay, yeah. Okay. No, it's a small box jelly. You can barely see it in the water. It's got a tiny square body, and it's got like 4 tentacles, one out of each side of the body. And if one touches you, this is, it's a poisonous thing, and it's incredibly painful. And now, it usually isn't fatal, but it's incredibly agonizing. Even if you get help from medical services and they give you morphine, it still hurts just as much, they say. And this pain can go on for a couple of days. I saw a video of a student and an instructor, 2 students and an instructor get stung by these things, and they were put in the hospital in these weird compression bags and all this other stuff. And, they had a bad few days there after these box jellyfish stung them. Now, you can't see the box jelly because he's tiny and he's transparent. So you wouldn't even know if they're in the water. And just so happened, this was like the box jelly jamboree that they decided to go swimming in. And, well, I tell you what, they became part of the jamboree, whether they liked it or not. And it was a unfortunate day, but They say the only way you can keep from getting stung by a box jelly, and this is going to sound weird, is you got to wear pantyhose all over your body, because even that thin layer will keep them from stinging you. So a lot of people that go out during box jellyfish season put on pantyhose and stuff throughout their entire body. But that is basically uh, how you mitigate the chances of getting stung by one of these guys, or by touching them and getting in, going on fire basically. But anyway, that's what I have for you today, and yeah, so hopefully two good useless things you guys can discuss with your friends, and look them up if you want to. It took me a while to find all these examples. I've seen the video of the guy getting bit by the mamba and the guy eating the centipede. They don't have any videos of the gimpy other than just a picture of it, and telling you, and it says, "Do not wipe ass on the tree." But that's about it.
Good advice.
Yeah, very good advice. Well, anyway,
So
what's that?
I just want to say to everybody out there, please like and subscribe our Saturday morning cereal. We would appreciate it.
We sure would. It'd help us a lot. We sure appreciate you guys, and I hope that we hope that you learned something at today's Saturday morning cereal with Neon Wrangler, or Neon Wrangler Saturday morning cereal. But we're gonna see you next week. Hopefully, some of the health issues are cleared up, and I got the audio drivers working again, which was a nightmare. It took me about 3 days, but that problem seems to be solved. But anyway, we'll see y'all at the next roundup. Say goodbye, Dave.
Take it easy and enjoy a good bowl of cereal.
You too. Oh, I gotta stop recording. There we go.